Cleveland, in the grip of winter. A refinery owner sits across from a soft-spoken visitor who has studied the business more closely than he has himself. The offer is simple. Sell now, take cash or shares in a competitor, and walk away whole. Refuse, and risk losing everything. Across the city, the owners of 26 refineries face the same quiet choice. Welcome to Same Day, Different Century. I'm Zach. Today is July 8th. The man asking those refiners to sell was born on this date in 1839 in Richford, New York. His name was John Davison Rockefeller. The America of his childhood was overwhelmingly agricultural, but it was changing fast. The Erie Canal had opened about 14 years earlier, and railroads were spreading. Farm households that once made nearly everything they used were being pulled into a wider market economy built on cash, credit, and long-distance trade. It was a world that rewarded anyone who could read a column of numbers and act on it. Rockefeller's own household was a study in contradiction. His father, William Avery Rockefeller, was a traveling salesman who peddled patent remedies and sometimes passed himself off as a doctor. He was often gone for months, and for years he lived a double life under an assumed name with a second wife, a secret the family did not fully grasp. By later accounts, he boasted of cheating his sons in small deals to sharpen their instincts. His mother, Eliza, was the opposite, a devout Baptist, rigidly frugal, disciplined. From her, John absorbed thrift, order, and a religious seriousness he carried all his life. He gave a portion of his very first wages to charity, a habit that grew into lifelong tithing. Those first wages came in 1855. The family had moved to the Cleveland area, and at 16, Rockefeller took a job as an assistant bookkeeper at a produce shipping firm. He treated the ledger as almost sacred, and marked the anniversary of that first day, every year on September 26th, as a private holiday he reportedly called Job Day. In 1859, he went into business as a partner in his own firm, Clark and Rockefeller, trading grain, produce, and meat on commission. That same year, in the hills of northwestern Pennsylvania, a former railroad conductor named Edwin Drake oversaw the drilling of the well that launched the American oil industry, the first well in the United States drilled expressly for oil. A new industry was about to erupt, chaotic, filthy, and wildly profitable. The question that would define the next 40 years was who could impose order on it. Rockefeller's answer was to avoid the oil fields entirely. Drilling was a gamble. A prospector might strike a fortune or a dry hole. Refining crude into kerosene was steadier, and kerosene was the prize. It burned cleaner and cheaper than costly whale oil, and it rapidly displaced whale oil as the light source of ordinary American homes. In 1863, he invested in a Cleveland refinery. 2 years later, he bought out his partners at auction for $72,500, committing everything to oil. In 1870, he and a handful of associates incorporated the Standard Oil Company of Ohio, capitalized at $1 million. At the start, it controlled perhaps a tenth of American refining. Then came the methods that made his name feared. Because Standard shipped an enormous volume, Rockefeller extracted secret rebates from the railroads, discounts his smaller rivals could not match. In 1872, he went further, joining a scheme called the South Improvement Company, which would have handed Standard rebates on its own oil and a cut of the freight its competitors paid. Public fury killed the plan before it shipped a single barrel, but its mere existence gave Rockefeller leverage. In a span of 2 to 3 months in early 1872, Standard absorbed 22 of its 26 Cleveland competitors. Rivals later called it the Cleveland Massacre. Some sold willingly for fair terms, others felt they had no choice. From there, he integrated relentlessly. Standard bought pipelines, tank cars, and terminals. It made its own barrels and owned the timber to build them, and it cut costs obsessively, reducing the drops of solder sealing each kerosene can from 40 to 39, and finding markets for byproducts other refiners simply dumped. In 1882, his lawyers bound the sprawling network into a new legal form, the Standard Oil Trust. By then, Standard controlled roughly 90% of U.S. refining capacity. Here, historians genuinely divide. One view holds that Standard won through sheer efficiency, economies of scale that drove down the price of kerosene for everyone. Another emphasizes coercion, the rebates, the threats, and the pressure on the rivals to sell. Both are grounded in the record, and the argument is not settled. What's worth remembering is that Rockefeller built all of this before any federal antitrust law existed. Judged in his own moment, he believed he was rescuing a self-destructive industry from ruinous waste. The age of lone competitors, he argued, was ending, and the age of combination had come. But combination on that scale could not stay invisible. By the turn of the century, Standard's dominance had become a national grievance. One of the most damaging blows came from a journalist named Ida Tarbell, whose father had been an oil producer squeezed by Standard's rise. Between 1902 and 1904, she published a meticulous investigation in McClure's magazine, tracing the rebates and the ruthless deals in documented detail. Her work helped turn public opinion against the company and became a landmark of American investigative journalism. The legal reckoning followed. The Sherman Antitrust Act had passed in 1890, and in 1911, the Supreme Court ruled that Standard Oil was an illegal monopoly and ordered it dissolved into more than 30 separate companies. Their descendants still shape the industry today, among them the firms that became Exxon, Mobil, Chevron, and Amoco. The breakup produced a result its architects never intended. Rockefeller held stock across all the new companies. Freed from the trust and traded independently, their combined value climbed. The dissolution meant to punish him made him richer, pushing his fortune toward $1 billion. By some economic measures, one of the largest fortunes relative to the size of the economy that any American has ever held. He spent his last decades giving much of it away, guided by his Baptist convictions and shrewd advisors. He was the founding benefactor of the University of Chicago and a pioneering medical research institute. His money funded a campaign against hookworm across the American South and seeded public health programs worldwide. By his death in 1937, at age 97, he had given away hundreds of millions. The tension in his life never fully resolved. The same discipline that crushed competitors also built universities and fought disease. Every time you fill a tank at an Exxon or a Chevron station, you're dealing with a fragment of the empire one bookkeeper assembled, and that a court could only break apart, but never undo. That same day, different century. I'm Zach. We'll be back tomorrow with another date, another story. Thanks for listening. Hey guys, it's Zach. Real quick before you go, I just wanted to say thank you so much for listening. It really means a lot. If you enjoyed the show, all I ask is that you share it with someone that you think would enjoy it too. That's the best way to help us out. I'll see you tomorrow.